Focus. Now today we've got a really special episode, as you can probably see behind me. You guys all know that I own a Mk3 Focus RS and I absolutely love the car, and I've just got a bit of a passion for Fords in general. But yeah, thanks to my friend Tom from work, who I work with, he's brought down all of his cars. He's got a Mk1, a Mk2 and a Mk3, which is absolutely amazing. So basically today I'm going to show you around each car. I'm going to go for a drive in each one with Tom, and then hopefully at the end I can try and decide which one I prefer, which is going to be really tough. But anyway, let's go and speak to Tom, and then he can you know, give us a brief explanation about the cars. Right, Tom, how you doing, mate?
Hello, are you alright?
Yeah, good. Thanks for you know, bringing your cars out for us today.
No problem.
To get on the channel. So you've got all three generations of Focus RS.
Yeah.
So I take it you're obviously a bit of a fan.
Yeah, you started with that one. That's what started it off.
With a Mk1.
Yeah.
So how long have you had the Mk1 for?
I've had the Mk1 since 2010, when I brought it off a good friend of mine.
Okay, 2010. So a good 8 years now you've had this car for, and obviously you haven't got rid of it. So
no.
I'm guessing you don't want to part with it.
Not really. No. I brought one, and then that sort of led on to wanting to buy the next one.
Which is the Mk2.
Yeah, and then by the time I brought the third one, I was like, oh, I can't get rid of it.
It's pretty amazing, really, because like, well, I've got one. I'd obviously love to have three, but it must just be, you know, which one do you pick if you want to go for a drive?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty hard, to be honest with you. I mean, luckily the Mk3 gets used every day.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's probably what sold it to us, the fact you could use it as an everyday car.
Yeah.
And then obviously, so, yeah.
So Mk3 is your daily.
Yeah.
Mk2
is if I want to be a bit Asbo and just go out for a good
yeah. And the Mk1.
Bit of a weekend warrior.
Yeah, just a weekend toy.
And it's more now, it's probably gone away from the weekend toy more now because it's probably a bit more collectible.
Yeah.
A bit more rarer.
No, they are nice. I mean, looking at these cars, all three, they're all unique in their own sort of special way, but I'm not going to lie, I think the Mk2 is the better looking one out of all three of them.
Yeah, I fully agree.
And I own a Mk3.
He's definitely the most best looking.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, it's just, Ford did really go all out with the styling, didn't they? I mean, even, go on, mate.
They hit the styling right at that time.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty out there.
You know.
It looks mean as well. When the car's behind you, you know exactly what it is. Whereas the Mk3, you can sometimes mistake it, I suppose, for an ST if it's in white or, you know, black. But and then the Mk1, I think the Mk1 does itself some justice as well. You've got obviously the wider arches on this, and yeah, I think they're really nice looking. But so before we, you know, get to each individual car, out of all three, this is a tough question. Which one do you prefer?
That is a tough question. That's probably one of the toughest questions you could be asked, because they're each got their own little quirkiness and something about them. Like one will do something that the other one won't. For example, the Mk3 will go around the bend much better than any of the other two put together. And it's the same with the noise. The Mk2 will give you the noise that the Mk1 won't give you, and the Mk1 will just, being the classic it is, will do that sort of thing of what the others won't do.
Yeah.
You know.
So they're all unique in their own.
When you drive somewhere and park it up, and you get people come up to you and go, "Oh, I ain't seen a Mk1 for ages."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you don't get that in like the Mk3. And like you say, people do compare them to the ST.
Right. Well, I've never driven a Mk2, so I can't wait to get in that. Obviously, I've driven a Mk3, but I think what we'll do now, if it's all right with you, if we we'll go around each car individually, and then we'll take each one for a spin, and then I can try and do a comparison and see which one I preferred. But so if we start with the Mk1, we'll have a look round and we'll go out for a spin. Right, so here we are with the Mk1. So we're about to take this out for a little spin. Let's just have a look around the car then, because it's been a while since I've sort of had a good look around it. And you can just explain what you've done to it, what additional features you've got on it, and the sort of power it's running and stuff. So I'll let you show me.
Well, as you can imagine, it's been a long while since I've actually done anything to it.
Yeah.
Like, as in modification wise, because I've had it for so long.
Okay. So up the front.
Yeah.
So you've got a splitter down there. Is that an aftermarket splitter?
Yeah, that's an aftermarket. I think it was something like Phoenix Autosports, like fiberglass front splitter. Personally, I feel it does finish off the front end. So
yeah.
I felt when they didn't have nothing at all, it was just a bit sort of, the bumper just sort of come to an end, so that just sort of finished it off.
So you've got the wide arches there, which you can see, which sets the car apart from your average Focus. I love the colour as well.
Yeah, the Imperial blue.
Yes, it looks nice in the sun.
They had the uprated brakes, which were Brembos at the time.
Yeah, and you've got some upgraded discs there as well.
upgraded discs on it now.
And there's your Instagram, Hunzy RS.
Yeah.
Give them a follow.
Yeah, they were put on for Ford Fair. Probably not to everyone's taste, but it's only a sticker at the end.
Yeah. And we got the Sparco seats inside. They've fared quite well actually, mate.
They ain't done too bad. There's a little bit just down the bottom corner, but they've not stretched bases because this is the unstitched base. Some
yes.
of the later ones. Well, I say later ones. Some of them had like a cross-stitch base.
They used to sag, didn't they? They were known to sag, weren't they?
Sag down the bottom, but luckily mine's avoided that so far.
So you've had the underside all done. I don't know if we can get under there and show you that. Can we get under there? You can sort of see it. It looks quite tidy under there for a car of this age, to be fair.
That was done by a man called Peter Williams, who owns this company, which is that is a very old sticker, but it's Demon Performance Centre up in Crewe.
Demon Performance Centre.
Yeah, he really does know his stuff.
What exhaust have we got?
It's a Mongoose exhaust, which would have been originally fitted when it was tuned by Graham Good.
Okay.
It was, had fitted by the previous owner.
Yep. Power-wise, what are we running?
Somewhere between 300 and about 330. We did have it dynoed once and it came back as 330, but we had the suspicions that the dyno may have been over-reading slightly. So, I mean, to be honest, anything over 300 I'd be happy with.
Yeah.
Like the original Graham Good pack on it, I think when that was done, that came back as about 260, 270.
Yeah.
And then I took it to Demon Performance Centre. We did a thing where they run them direct, which is changing like the vacuum hoses to the turbo, so it sort of runs almost like a bit like an old RS turbo.
Okay.
The more you put your foot down, the more boosted.
Yeah, proper old school.
Instead of running a boost controller. But I've looked at going down that route, but at the moment it works and drives and goes very well. So.
Well, we'll find out in a minute, because so there's only one thing for it. Jump in the Mk1, take it for a spin and see what it's all about. Right, so we're in the Mk1 Focus RS. So it's been a long time since I've driven one of these, probably, God, 10 years or something. Immediately getting into this car, it just feels a lot older, obviously, because it is a lot older than the Mk3. But that sounds amazing, doesn't it?
That sounds pretty cool. It sounds better when you're on full can.
Yeah, so we're running fairly big power for this car, over 300 horsepower. So I'm expecting like an old school kind of power delivery, so just a bit of turbo lag and then all of a sudden we're off down the road. But it's pretty firm, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a fun ride.
Suspension.
Yeah, it's a fun ride, with the H&R springs and that.
Yeah, it still feels quite tight as well.
Yeah, well that's probably because when we had all the subframes dropped off, Pete put all the like poly bush on the front and that, so it firmed it up quite a lot.
Yeah, can you imagine a car of this age will be quite sloppy and loose, but no, it's feeling
a bit knocky in that.
Even just going slowly around that corner. I'm gonna give it a minute before we.
That's fair enough. Yeah,
before we give it full boost.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But yeah, I mean the steering wheel. I mean these have obviously.
Standard Focus RS wear.
They tend to melt, don't they, on the blue bit here? But I take it you're going to get that reupholstered at some point.
Yeah, I'm going to get it retrimmed. Like I say, that's the second one.
But this Mk1 Focus, I mean, even today, it does look old, but it doesn't look horrendously old, does it?
No, it's just a typical 2000s, like, the turn of the century styling. You know when you're in an old Ford because the key code radio.
Oh, exactly. The old school CD player there. I think we need to give it a bit of welly, don't we?
Yeah, open the taps up.
Let's drop it into third gear, so 3,500 revs, 50 mile an hour. Wow, fucking hell. Excuse my French. Actually, it picks up pretty quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I was expecting more of a delay before we hit the boost.
No, it goes, it does go.
The gearbox feels nice. Gearbox feels nice and tight, doesn't feel too sloppy. We need to see what it handles like. Get some rounds and twisties. Because he's got limits. Whoa!
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, let me straight up.
Yeah, go straight, yeah.
So a bit of understeer there.
Yes.
A bit of understeer there.
I should have probably warned you about that. It does have a tendency of, if you're not paying attention when you come around a roundabout or a tight bend, or the whole steering wheel, for example, it does have a tendency to throw you off the road.
Right. Okay. So that's quite important.
As you see there, it doesn't take a lot to break traction and Yeah.
So what happened is, yeah, I just accelerated slightly around a bend, and we hit boost, and the car it went in a straight line.
Yeah.
Basically.
That way.
So I've got to watch out for that one.
Yeah.
No, it feels nice. It feels nice and smooth.
Right. Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's aged well.
Yeah.
So inside, I was thinking earlier on about when you could order these back in the day.
Yeah.
If there was actually options.
No.
It was just a standard spec car, wasn't
I'm pretty certain. I mean, there's the main man to ever ask that question. If he was, it's a bloke called Clayton Borg. He's like the main man of the Focus.
I think I've heard of him actually. Yeah.
The main man of the Focus Mk1 Focus RS world. But no, I'm pretty certain that was the car. Take it or leave it. Sort of spec.
Yeah, because mine had it like basically. The differences in this car are you've got the Sparco seats, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got obviously the different steering wheel with the blue leather straight up.
Yeah, straight on.
You've got a different gear knob, aluminium gear knob.
Yeah.
Sparco handbrake.
Yeah.
A genuine carbon surround.
Yeah.
For the gear stick.
Yeah, when you build number and engine start.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got your push start, and that's pretty much. And you've got your turbo boost gauge on the dials here.
Which obviously Ford thought was more important than a water gauge.
Yeah, and they didn't give you one.
No.
But with an ST170, you got one of those, didn't you?
You got water gauge and a oil temperature gauge and other things.
So that's one of the negatives of the inside of the car. You can't monitor your temperatures, but
no, hence why a lot of people use the scan gauge, as you can see in the corner there.
Yeah. So yeah, he's actually got a scan gauge device that has the temperatures on it. He can monitor.
Because that also tells us the charge cooler temperature.
Yeah. Right. So we've got a little twisty national speed limit road here now. So I'm going to drop it in a second. I'm going to be careful.
Yeah. That's all right.
I don't want to kill us. We say, oh yes. Wow, she's a right handful, isn't she? Blimey. The lower gears, like second and third, it's quite brutal, but when you get into fourth, it becomes a little bit more linear, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Oh, I love the sound of the dump valve. Wow, it's quick.
Yeah.
It's quick.
She does go. She does go.
The thing is though, it just keeps going, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
It keeps pulling.
It doesn't die off. I'm a little bit scared to push it into a corner though, because I'm going to have to be really light with the throttle, aren't I? So just ease it on boost and then power out. Yeah. You just got to give the car a little bit more respect, haven't you? Just,
yeah. It's not as forgiving as like.
God, I tell you what, it keeps you on your toes though, doesn't it?
Yeah, certainly does.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, compared to my Mk3, you've really got to nurse it, haven't you?
It's a lot of power in a front-wheel drive car. I mean, there is people out there running more power than that in one of these, and you can only imagine what sort of animal they really are.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this would be enough power. Like, would you want more power?
No, not really. No. All I'd want to do is just make if there was any sort of doubt, would be to make it safer. Like for example, when I had the underside done and everything, I had a DW65 pump, I believe it is, fitted. So it was, because obviously the standard pumps over time get weaker. Yeah. So I had the uprated pump put in it just to keep it safer under load and that.
Wow. So yeah, so about 2,000 to 3,000. That's where you get a little bit of lag. Yeah. But then it really comes on.
Yeah, it comes on, and it comes on hard.
And it throws you down the road, doesn't it? Right, so yeah, you were saying to me a minute ago that you can use this car as a daily driver if you wanted to. So if you want to just
sort of where it runs the direct sort of boost setup. Like if you just drive it normally, it just will hardly not use any boost, and it will just drive around like a normal 2-litre Focus.
So about a quarter throttle, if that. Yeah. It's not too bad, is it?
No, it's just like a normal car.
Anyway, we're not here to drive it normally, are we?
No.
So right, let's see how this actually handles into the corners. Jesus, man. It takes the bumps quite well.
Yeah, it does. It's not too bad.
It's not too bouncy, is it?
No.
And what springs have you got on this?
H&R, and with the standard shocks. So the shocks are probably getting a little bit older in their life now.
Yeah.
No, they're still alright.
No, it takes it well. Here we go, nice set of S's. It's really flat. It's really flat, isn't it?
It certainly is.
One thing I do find, it's hard to feel the diff. It's hard to feel the diff working because there's so much power.
There's so much power, it just chucks you out.
normally it pulls you around, doesn't it? But this just wants to understeer. Well, there, I felt it there.
Yeah. You got to try and find that, like the knife edge of such.
Yeah. Sounds nice as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds alright.
Yeah, I like it. It's nice.
Good, isn't it?
It's nice. Yeah. Once you learn how the car behaves, you can go quicker.
Yeah.
Rather than having to be as cautious, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
So I reckon if I had a day with this car, a good day with this car, I think by the end of the day. But no, the steering wheel's coming off in my hand.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
No, it sort of really has brought back memories for me with mine. Like I say, mine was only about 230 brake, so a bit more kind of usable power. I could kind of floor it through the corners and it wasn't as lethal. But no, you do need the extra power when you come out the bend.
Yeah,
it just shoots you off down the road, doesn't it? So no, it's a lovely car, mate. It's going to be interesting to see what the Mark II's like now.
Yeah, and once again, it's a completely different sort of ball game as such.
Yeah. Oh god, there's a turbo lag. If you're in if you're in fifth gear at 60, there's nothing happens, does it?
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. That's where modern day engines have improved, isn't it? Smaller turbos.
Or like variable vanes and that.
Yeah, sweet. No, mate, it's really enjoyed it. We need to get into the Mark II.
Yeah.
See how that handles and then finish off with the Mark III. So, yeah.
Good stuff.
Right, Mark I is done. Nearly killed me, but we've made it back alive. Now it's time for the mighty Mark II. So, Tom, do you want to come and show us around the Mark II? I know you can't wait to get on camera again.
Yeah, I love the camera.
Right, so here she is, performance blue.
Yeah, blue, yeah.
Looking lovely. So what have you done to this?
It's pretty much the Mk1 catalogue. Well, I say that. It's a Mk1 MR375.
Yep.
With the Club Sport front brakes, which are the big Alcons.
Oh, you see them in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking nice.
And then obviously the Mk2 like mats and silly little things like that.
Okay, so you've got spacers on there as well?
Yeah, 20mm spacers all round with the IVAC springs. I did want the Mk2 Club Sport suspension, but trying to get hold of it is like trying to get like a rocket horse to come home.
I like that analogy.
And yeah, the full Mk2 exhaust system.
Yep. Oh, I love the back end of these. They're so nice, aren't they? They just look so meaty with the arches and the diffuser. You've got your Mk2 badge on there as well.
Yeah.
Just representing.
The hardcore Mk2 people will notice that it hasn't got the big Mk2 badge on it.
Okay.
That was by my request. I only had the little one.
Okay, you want it to be a bit more subtle.
Yeah, a little bit subtler.
Okay, so yeah, MR375. You've got the exhaust, which is a catback.
Yeah.
You've got the spacers and the Mk2 brakes, and is that pretty much it?
Yeah, because obviously with the Mk2 pack, it gives you your plenum, your bigger airbox, and all the other little bits like that. So
okay.
Yeah, I need a list of paper really to tell you what's on it. 'Cause to be honest, I can never remember. I'll buy these things, I'll put the things on them, I'll get them done, and then it just adds up.
Yeah, no, it's really nice, mate. Really nice. So yeah, I think we need to go out for a test drive in this one now, don't we? So yeah, it's about to get in this. We'll get the camera set up and we'll see how it fares up against the Mark I. So let's do it. Right, Mark II Focus RS. I've been waiting a long time for this, like since they came out. So nearly 10 years now. Nearly 10 years old.
Yeah, it's been a while now, yeah.
8 years old now. Obviously, immediately it's a lot more modern inside compared to the Mark I. The steering feels a lot lighter. The interior is more modern. You've got your CD player, DAB, dual climate control, that kind of thing. I've always liked the interior of these. I think they look quite nice and smooth and clean.
Yeah, definitely.
A bit dated now, but it's still, you know, it still looks quite nice. But yeah, the only thing I'm looking forward to is putting my foot down, to be honest.
Yeah,
yeah, it sounds amazing, even just cruising around, doesn't it? So let's see. Here we go. Oh yeah. Oh Jesus. That's just a brute, isn't it? It's just a brute.
Certainly is.
And there's more to give there as well.
Yes.
Oh, that exhaust, mate. So every time you come off the exhaust, you get this sort of ferocious pop.
In second.
So second gear around here, yeah?
Yeah.
And give it some.
Up the taps.
Oh. Oh yes. This feels quicker than the Mark 1, doesn't it?
It's just because of the noise.
It's just, I'm a bit lost for words, mate, to be honest. You get that real sensation of being like pulled back into your seat, don't you? And
there's a lot of, it's got a lot of torque.
And it's listen to that little pop there.
Yeah, it'll be the exhaust on them is one of them sort of things. If you don't want it to pop, it'll pop.
Yeah.
If you want it to pop,
yeah.
You know, or if you don't want it to pop, it'll pop. And if you want it to pop, it won't pop.
But it's natural though, isn't it? It's natural pops. It's
like like if you're late at home, like if you're late at night trying to get home and you're sort of driving down the street, you know, oh, don't make no noise, and you just change gear and go bang.
Now the CS seats are nice.
Yeah.
They're quite, I mean, I've already covered these before, but they're a bit too loose for me because I'm quite sort of skinny.
Yeah, we see for me, because I'm a little bit rounder.
They're perfect.
They fit me quite well.
Yeah. But no, the seating position, I suppose, if you're a bit taller, is quite high, isn't it, in these? But for me, it's not really an issue. 5'9", 5'8".
Yeah.
Oh, but that sound, man, that sound is so good. 3,500 revs, she's off.
Job done.
I'm going to crack the window down a little bit, I think.
No,
just
that's fine, mate. Yeah, if you could try and get some of
a bit more appreciation. Oh, a little pop there. I mean, the Mark 3 sounds pretty good, doesn't it? But
the Mark 3, well, it's been designed to do popping, isn't it? I mean,
this is another level of sound, isn't it?
Yeah, the 5 pot. Yeah. Even though it's a Volvo engine, it does sound.
Yeah. So suspension-wise, I'm going to compare it to the Mark 3.
Yeah.
Because obviously I drive that every day. It's not quite as firm as the Mark 3, is it?
Not really, no. No,
it's not quite as.
No, because this is still on the standard shocks and everything, and they wasn't overly firm to begin with.
We got IBAC springs on this, yeah.
IBAC springs, yeah. If you have the H&Rs, they're a slightly firmer ride.
Okay.
I've been involved with H&Rs and they are slightly firmer.
But you were saying you did start to miss a few mod cons when you went to Europe.
Yeah, like I missed the cruise control.
Yeah.
Cruise control is one of the biggest things when you're out there on an autobahn or wherever. You just like, yeah.
And your cup holders there, they're not.
Yeah,
they're tiny, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not very deep. And it's silly little things like that.
I mean, it's got the stuff you need, but it could be a bit more sophisticated.
Yeah, but I suppose at the time.
Yeah, at the time.
You know, we are talking 6-7 years between the two, between the Mark 2 and the Mark 3.
Right, so we're going to hit that national speed limit section again. I'm going to go into second gear, see what she's got. Bit of understeer there again. Not quite as savage as the Mark 1. God, blimey. So again, you've still got to give the car a bit more respect, haven't you?
Yeah.
Just be a bit more gentle with the throttle. God, the sound off the throttle is so nice. It just wants to keep giving, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
It like eggs you on to go harder.
It's the noise of them.
Right, how does it corner?
Not as well as the Mark 3.
Oh, bloody yeah. Yeah, it's not as flat as the Mark 3.
There's been many times.
Brakes are very good.
Brakes are amazing. Well done, mount tune.
Yeah.
And Alcon.
Mate, it's not bad in the corners though.
It's not too bad.
I thought the turning was going to be worse because you were saying.
All right. The only thing you'll sometimes get is like your entrance speed. So with the Mark 3, if I've been driving the Mark 3 quite a bit and going out for a little bit of a fast road session, should we say, within the speed limits.
Of course, yeah.
You could get it round the bends quite tight and things like that. and then you'd get in this and you'd do the same, and the first initial reaction you'll get when you come into the bend is, this car is a lot heavier than the Mark 3, saying, you just think, well, there's only two ways it's going to end up when we come out the other end. But luckily, with the big brakes, you can scrub the extra speed off.
No, the brakes are very good. Like you say, there's a bit of travel in the pedal, isn't there? And then when you get to a certain stage, they do really kick in.
Yeah, that's it, definitely.
So it kind of semi-brakes traction, doesn't it? It's not full-on wheel spinning.
No, I mean, the traction control is off.
So second and third, you're kind of braking traction slightly.
Yeah.
Imagine if it's wet, it's a completely different story.
Yeah, you can pretty much halfway up the gearbox, it's all up.
I mean, oh mate, you've got to wonder what this car would be like with Mark 3 running gear.
Oh, if it was four-wheel drive, it'd be
insane, wouldn't it? Yeah, I can see it does feel a little bit heavy, but
it's just heavy on the front end.
It's still better than what I was expecting. No, I love it, mate. I love it.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I love it. I can't even put across like how I feel about it. It's just got shitloads of excuse my French. It's just got loads of drama and like sort of character about it, hasn't it? It's,
It's,
everything about it is in your face.
You can see why the people love them.
Yeah, I can see why people love them.
I mean, this is just like a more the sedate exhaust, the Mk1 exhaust.
I don't think I'd want it any louder than this though. No, for me though, the way you've modified this car is how I'd modify it.
Yeah, I mean,
to be fair.
I've tried to always keep them, should we say, OEM plus.
Yeah.
So it's not too much, but not enough to try and keep its original roots as such.
I say you've kept a lot of the original identity, haven't you?
Yeah.
And all the stuff's Mk2 anyway, and obviously they're all Ford endorsed, and we all know how good Mk2 is. So no, I think you've done a good job, mate, to be fair. I would love to own one of these cars. The only problem for me is it kind of needs to be, I like to have a bit of warranty, I like it to be a more usable daily. It's not going to cost me a lot of money.
That's fair enough.
It's just the age that puts me off, but it's a brilliant car, isn't it?
They're quite a strong car, and there is some good clean ones out there, to be fair. I mean,
speaks for itself, doesn't it?
If you find them, there is some good ones, and you can pick them up. I mean, they've held their money well, and you can pick them up, and they pretty much get you trouble free.
Yeah.
It's like most cars. There's good ones and there's bad ones. But yeah, if you was to spend a good search, I mean, I looked at a few before I picked this one. But yeah, I'm glad I did.
No, it's lovely. Last little boost up. Yeah, she is pretty savage. Third gear, spinning up.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, compared to the Mark 1, this car has made me smile a bit more than the Mark 1. I mean, I love the Mark 1, but this is, it's my type of car. The sound, the power, the look, it's kind of got it all, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's just, as we said before, if it was four-wheel drive, it would be epic.
Yes.
But would it lose a bit of its character? Would it lose a bit of its, ferocious nature? Who knows?
It might do. Yeah, it might have. It might have then gone like how the Mark 3 is, quite easy to drive.
Yeah.
And that might have took it away.
Yeah.
But like to all them people who slate the Mark 3, like don't slate it until you have at least test drove one, because
I agree.
They're not as bad as people think. Like by just looking at them, they are a very good car.
They're a brilliant car.
I mean, and that's coming from someone who's used to driving them both. Like,
that's the thing. I mean, I respect your opinion, because you know better than most people how these cars compare.
Yeah, I mean, it does annoy you when you see some of the comments and you're like, all right, you've got a Mark 2, you're saying that. I mean, why are you saying it?
the thing.
There's no need to say it. If you don't like one, don't buy one.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
don't get too offended about it.
At the end of the day, we're all RS owners, so why does it really matter?
I mean, I respect all of these cars in their own rights, and I've got nothing.
You know, but the Mark III has got a lot to give that the Mark II can't give because of its weight and size.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong, as we've said before in a different part of the video, the Mark II is the best looking out of all.
Oh yeah, I'm going to admit it. The Mark II does look the best,
and it's got the best sound. So already the two things is already in the Mark II's core. But the only reason why this handles as good as it does is because I've put the springs on it.
Yeah.
I've put the big brakes on it. Out the box, they're not that great.
And you've got more power as well. So you
know, everyone when they say about, oh yeah, you know, the Mark II, it's like, yeah, they're only good because you've made them good. When they came out of the box, they wasn't nowhere near as good as the Mark III.
And even stock for stock, the stock Mark III sounds better than the stock Mark II because these are fairly quiet, aren't they? As stock. Yeah. As soon as you open up, you open them up and put an exhaust on it. That's when it really sounds amazing.
That's it.
But no, I've absolutely loved this car. It's kind of bettered my expectations. Yes. I think it's been better than what I imagined. Yes. I've got a lot of respect for this car now. I still need to get in your Mark III and just have a direct comparison. So we'll go and have a look around that now and take that one out for a spin. But no, cheers mate. Let's go. Mark II done. Very, very impressed with the Mark II. Now moving on to the Mark III nitrous blue. Tom, same again.
Back in again.
He loves it. Right, so we've got nitrous blue Mark III. Again, it's got your Hunzi RS Instagram name on there. Right, so this is the FPM 375.
Yes.
Anything else you've done to this other than that?
The Mk1 springs.
Okay.
The Mk2 Quaif front differential.
Yeah, which comes standard in the edition, doesn't it? The Quaif LSD. Mud flaps.
Oh yeah, mud flaps.
Yes, we've got the Rally Armour Mk2 mud flaps.
Mk2 mud flaps.
You see them there.
And the boost pipes.
Okay.
Hard boost pipes from Mk2 and the Mk2 sound suppressor.
Yeah, which you need to get rid of that horrible howling noise.
Yeah.
I got that on mine.
Then obviously 375 that comes with the reset valve, the newer, the higher intake.
Yeah.
And the airbox, air filter.
So that's MR375, this is FPM 375, so essentially both the same power.
Supposedly, yeah.
So that's going to make it even more interesting to do the comparison and also compare it against my Dream Science tuned RS. So yeah, other than that, it's pretty much out of the box, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I can't think off the top of my head what else it's had. Oh, the quick shift. It's had a quick shift.
Ah, okay.
PTU brace.
Yep.
And I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Alright, well there's only one thing for it, and that is to jump in, take it for a spin, and compare it to the other two. Right, so we're in familiar territory now for me in the Mark III Focus RS. My immediate thoughts over the other two is it just feels so tight. Like everything about it, the steering just feels super responsive, suspension feels like really solid. Yeah. It just feels, you can just tell it's a lot more modern, a lot stiffer and just more rigid. So what I am interested to know, this is FPM 375, I've got DS Ultima 2 Plus, so I should have a little bit more power. And I've also got the DSC Sport controller, so it's going to be interesting to kind of compare those two as well as against the other two RSs that we've driven. So, oh, it does veer a bit, mate. Yeah. It feels slower. It feels.
It is slower than yours, definitely.
I mean, no, it feels slower than the. It feels slower than the Mark II.
Oh yeah.
I think it's because it's so smooth, isn't it? It's so.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But
it probably feels slower, but when you look at your speedo, you're probably doing the same.
Yeah, I think you are. Yeah, we didn't quite get to the speed we did in the in the Mark II.
No.
But taking it around that corner, it's much more settled.
Yeah.
Much more focused. Yeah, it feels a little bit more, how can I say it, subdued compared to mine.
Yeah, I think
it's just the map, isn't it?
I mean, I'd say like the M380 pack that Mk2 do.
Yeah.
Would probably be more like your DS system. But when I took yours out earlier, I would say it was very impressive.
It feels different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But again, with these cars, they are quite deceptive. Like you said a minute ago, you are going faster than what it feels.
Yeah, because it's so comfort and you don't get no road noise or no exhaust noise or something.
I mean, in the corners and out of the corners, there's no competition from the other two.
No.
It's just the Mark II just felt proper alive when you accelerated.
Yes. Yeah, most definitely.
It's actually really interesting going back to back in both of them. But no, I mean, this car, you know, it's not the most recent Focus now, but
no, that's it. No,
it's a very modern Focus. So they're well kitted out, aren't they? With Sync 3 and
they've got everything you need.
Everything you need, yeah.
It's a modern vehicle, you know.
And your drive modes, stick it in normal. You lose the pops. It's a bit more subtle.
Your throttle response changes.
But then you get these on a track, and they're absolutely
phenomenal.
You've tracked this, haven't you? I've tracked mine, and they are amazing on track.
But no, like I say, when we took yours out earlier, I mean, I was impressed. I was suitably impressed about the Dream Science.
I mean, because you've got the LSD takes away a little bit of the playfulness at the rear, doesn't it? Because it makes it...
Because it tightens up the front end.
Yeah. And also with you've got a smoother map.
Yeah.
So it just feels a bit more sensible. It's still a great car.
And to be honest, it's because it gets used every day.
Yeah.
I'd probably have rather have gone down the same route I have.
Yeah.
If that sort of makes sense.
Oh, this is definitely the best daily out of the three of them.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
It's going to be the most comfortable. Anyway, we've got the twisties again. So this is where it all counts. I mean, look, you can just pin the throttle though in this car. Straight round the corner, no drama. No drama at all. It's easy, isn't it? It's easy to drive fast.
They're an easy car.
But it is quite rewarding though as well, because it makes you feel like you're almost a better driver than what you are.
Yeah, very much so.
Got some potatoes going into the back of the... or a potato.
Sure with me.
So yeah, I'm not finding it as exciting as a Mark II. I didn't think I was going to say that.
Yeah, no,
I'm not. Anyway, here we go. This is where it all counts. Yeah, it's definitely...
it's the bends where it makes up for it.
Oh mate, it's so much quicker in the bends, it's ridiculous.
The straight line speed isn't there. The bends. That is what it's all about.
This thing is another level through the bends.
And you could not do that.
No, you couldn't.
No.
Okay, right, okay, so a second ago I was saying I didn't find this car as exciting as the Mark II, but that's only in a straight line. Yeah.
And that is what it comes down to.
It is.
And this whole argument thing you see online between the two people is that's what it's all about. That you know, you got two different things. You want to go around a corner fast, you get a Mark III.
I mean, I'm smart, mate. Just going through those S bends, I was a little bit disappointed on the straight. As soon as I hit those bends, mate, the smile is...
You know, you've got no lag, you've got no weight, it's just...
They're amazing, aren't they?
Just there.
They are amazing.
But the Mark II, on the other hand, once you're out the bends and on the straight, it's there.
It's where hay, isn't it?
And this cannot compare to a Mark II on the straight.
No.
But then a Mark II can't compare to a Mark III in the bends.
So Mark 1 in the bends, you've got to be really careful.
You got to be on it. Yeah, you got to be.
You can't floor it through the bends because it just takes you off the road. The Mark II is a little bit easier, but it was still fairly brutal in the way how it delivers the power to the front wheels. And this thing is just in a league of its own, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
I mean, I was full throttle through most of those corners, and it's just...
Yeah, as long... Your limiting factor is your tyres.
As long as your tyres
stay gripped.
And the diff I think if we're in my car, we would have had the back end out in a couple of those corners.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The diff in this, it makes it even quicker through the corners.
You know, obviously where we took yours out earlier, I was quite impressed with the DSC controller you've got.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can tell the difference between the two. But what we're obviously in here now, there obviously we both know the arguments you've seen online.
Yeah.
Between the FPM 375 and the Dream Science kit. Now I'm not going to say which one do you prefer, because that's hard and probably biased because of your own, but how do you find the 375
I find the
compared to yours?
I find
probably a better question to ask, should we say.
375 compared to DS Ultima 2 Plus.
Yeah.
The DS Ultima gives you a bit more of that sensation on the straights that the Mark II does.
Yes.
So you put your foot down and it builds and builds, and then it goes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get to a certain point, boost spikes up and it goes. And you've still got the same performance in the corners as you have with this. But if you power out of the corner in mine, when you get that extra spike of boost, that's when the rear can poke its head out.
Right. So you think this is slightly more controlled?
I think I'd probably say this is a bit more controlled.
Yeah.
But it's not quite as fun.
No.
But
yeah, that's So really then, this has probably done what I'm guessing Mountune and probably Ford agree with. How they want it to be. They wanted the extra power. Yeah. Without the probably, should we say that?
I mean, I can't remember what the stock car feels like now, but I can see the appeal with this map.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Because it's nice and progressive. It builds and builds. You know, you look at the speedo and you are moving at a fair rate of knots.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably recommend it, to be fair, if you wanted to keep your warranty.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to.
It's the only option you've got, isn't it? Really.
That is what it comes down to be honest with you.
I mean, it's still no slouch, and it does go when you put your foot down. It's just not got quite as much drama as.
It certainly has, because I remember when I had it done from the standard one to the 375, and it transformed the car a lot. Yeah. I can just slightly remember the standard car, and to be honest, it was a bit dire. When I first picked it up, I did think, this is a bit...
It's a bit dull, isn't it, in standard form?
But, you know, and then I had this pack done. The main reason I had this done is because, one, Mountune to me was trusted and everything, because of obviously with my Mark II, and 3, I knew in the end I'd go up through the stages of it. So. But
you've got the other two cars, which give you that other thrill, haven't you? You know,
exactly.
So you don't need it from this.
No, but I think in time I will go to or when the warranty runs out, I will go to the 380 pack or the 400.
I think that'll
be 400.
I think with 400 brake horsepower, a downpipe, a sports cat, and a catback exhaust, it's going to sound amazing.
Oh yes, most definitely. Yeah.
It's definitely going to give a bit more of a exciting drive to the car, isn't it?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, overall with this, as we've already said, it's in the corners that you really do get an appreciation for just how good it is. And it's just so fast through the corners. It's got all the mod cons. It's just an up-to-date version of the other two, really, in my opinion. Yeah. And like you say, standard Mark II, not the best, is it? No, standard Mark II, you've got to mod it to get the most out of it. And even a standard Mark I back in the day,
that would have been the same.
They weren't that quick, were they?
No.
So, yeah, I think it's time just to go and park up and have a little think and try and decide which one is the best, if I can.
It's a big question, mate, I'll tell you. It's a big question.
Right guys, so I'm back from all the drives now, having driven all three of these amazing cars. It's been really interesting actually to compare all three together. I've just got to make an impossible decision now as to which car I would take home if Tom was going to give me the keys. I think starting with the Mark I think I'm going to rule out the Mark I. As good fun as it was, it's just, you've got to be really careful with it. You plant your foot on the accelerator for a corner in that and you just get a load of understeer and it just wants to throw you into a ditch. And I found it a bit unnerving. As fun as it was, you can't really get the full potential out of it because it's a bit too much power going through the front wheels for my liking. And it is tuned, so with a stock car, it might be a little bit more exciting, but now I'm going to rule out the Mark I, as lovely as it is. So that leaves me with the Mark II and the Mark III. Now this is where it gets really tricky. The Mark II for me, you probably saw in the video, I was smiling from ear to ear as soon as I got in it. It sounds amazing. On the straights, it's just really, really brutal. It feels rapid. It's pretty good in the corners, and yeah, I was really impressed with it, to be fair. It's better than what I expected. The Mk3, I'm not going to lie, as soon as I got in the Mk3, when I accelerated on one of the straights, I was a bit underwhelmed. I was a little bit disappointed. Didn't feel as exciting as the Mk2. It was only when I got into some S-bends in the Mk3 that I really sort of gained the appreciation for it. The Mk3 in the corners is absolutely amazing. You can literally go full throttle in that thing, and it sticks like glue. It was really good, and that's when I started to smile in the Mk3, was when I got into the bends. The Mk2 isn't as capable in that aspect. But what you've got to remember is, this Mk2's tuned. Tom was saying that out of the box, they're not really a great car, so you've got to spend some money on them, and you've got to tune them up to get the best out of them. And this Mk3, it's got FPM 375, but that's just quite a subtle Ford approved tune. My car, on the other hand, with the Ultima 2 Plus, it's kind of a good compromise between the two. So it's got the excitement the Mk2 offers in the straights. It's got the great handling of this one, and it also kicks the rear out as well because I don't have a diff, so it makes it a bit more playful. So out of these three cars, which one would I take? I think it's going to have to be the Mk2. I'm not going to lie. I think out of these three cars, it would be the Mk2. I think if mine was here, or if that Mk3 had my my upgrades on it, it would be the Mk3. But as these cars sit, it's the Mk2.